I ended up hitting the tire wall and I also got physically injured. I've lost the car. Some of you might ask, did you run out of talent? I've been pretty radio silent for more than 2 months now, and I just want to update on what has been happening and what has happened to me. Exactly 2 months ago, from tomorrow, on March 3rd, I had the first track event of the year. And as you can see on YouTube, I had a bunch of videos of the Fortunato coilovers, AP Racing Big Brake Kit. I was really preparing the car and kind of ready to go. And if you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw my wheels, tires, all the setup. Just pretty much ready to go. Sadly, the season came to an unexpected start. In the first session of the event on March 3rd, I ended up going off in a corner. The grass was really slick from the previous day's rain. So when I got on the grass, there was no grip. Tires were relatively new, so there wasn't much grip on the grass. When I got on the brakes, I got ice pedal and car didn't really slow down. I ended up hitting the tire wall and the concrete barrier behind it. This impact, of course, totaled the car. Here's the car. And I also got physically injured. I fractured my back. I was taken to the hospital by an ambulance. Luckily, I did not need surgery. They gave me a back brace and let me go after 2 days and let it heal on its own. And as you can see, I'm standing right now. I'm able to walk around, drive around. Last week, I went to see the doctor and they cleared me to drive. So I'm well. If you're asking if I'm okay, I'm good. I am recovered. Mostly, my back is not 100%. I don't think it will ever be 100%, but I can make it work. It could have gone much worse. This is why I have been pretty radio silent. I really wanted to go directly into this video without extra kind of fluff, because this is my second time recording this video. First time around ended up being close to 30 minutes, and no one has that much time. I wanted to kind of get straight to the point and kind of tell you just what happened in the beginning of the video. If you want to tune out, feel free. I'm just going to dive into why that happened and what's next for me. The reason why I went off and crashed into the wall was because I was running professional awesome bump stops all around, and I had trimmed the front. I had not trimmed the rear. The corner that I went off was turn 8 at Summit Point. Turn 8 is mostly a kind of like a late apex corner where you kind of give it up so that you can set yourself up for turn 9 so that you have a wider arc. So in that corner, there's a curb at the apex, and I always take that curb. And with my Veloster, no problems, no issues, never had problems. Of course, the suspension setup was different, and with the Elantra end, I had the taller bump stops in the rear, and with the helper springs in the rear, at static ride height, I was very close to getting in contact with the bump stops. So any kind of roll puts me into the bump stops. Since they're progressive, on most corners when I'm rolling, it kind of provides some body control, which is, I guess, kind of nice. But at the same time, when I'm really pushing and really loading up the suspension, especially if in the opposite corner, because, weight transfer works up in opposites, right, in diagonally. So in the driver's front, if I hit a curb, the weight gets loaded to the passenger rear. So in this corner, I already had that corner loaded, and I took the curb. I have photos of my Veloster N with soft suspension, like soft spring rates, lifting the driver's front wheel. That's how much kind of jacking happens in that corner. So you kind of have to have enough spring rate to kind of hold the car in, and also the dampers to control the spring. If you're getting into the bump stops in that corner, then your spring rates kind of shoot up. My spring rate shot up and the tire broke loose. This was the second lap, and these are Nankang CRSs. I was running 255s all around on 9.5, 18 by 9.5. So the rear tires weren't really like up to temp. Even though I did the warm-up session like 30 minutes before, the rear tires are still considered cold in the Nankang CRS standards, So because of that, the car snap oversteered on me, and I ended up pointing towards the grass. And since to set up the corner for turn 9, you have to be close to the grass, close to the edge of the track. If you want to kind of maximize the track, any kind of oversteer leaves almost no room for error. Again, with my Veloster, I've taken that corner so many times, I never had an oversteer moment, maybe slight lower rotation, which sets you up for that corner nicely. That way you don't have to kind of turn the steering wheel while you're loading up. If the car rotates just a little bit, you'll be straight. So that way you can like straighten the steering wheel earlier. That way you can roll more speed. Sadly, that happened so suddenly and the direction change happened so fast. I just was facing the grass, like I said. It rained the previous day. The grass was damp. So I just could not do anything. I pressed the brakes. I got the ice pedal, trying to kind of slowly steer the car. One of the options is either go off into the natural banking and fly off. I don't know what speed. Maybe I would have been fine if I'd gone that route. I really don't know. I was thinking maybe it'll be safer to hit the tires and the tire wall so that they can absorb the impact. When I was at the asphalt right before leaving the track, my peak speed was 80 miles per hour. And when I hit the wall, it was about 36 miles per hour roughly. So definitely the grass and all the hilly areas definitely reduced the speed by like 40 miles per hour. I guess it could have been worse if I had gone faster, but I was trying to slow the car down and everything was happening super fast, as you might know. Some of you might ask, couldn't you catch the slide? Did you run out of talent? Were you overdriving the car? Were you pushing the car? And no, that's not how I drive. I mean, you can ask the people who know me how I drive. Usually, like, I will try to warm up to a car and not just like blindly send it. I've, gone off my fair share with my Veloster N, testing limits, but usually it's in later sessions, trying to find time. But usually like my first sessions are going to be super clinical. If I'm familiar with the car, familiar with the track, I put in like the cleanest lap. Because usually once I start reviewing data, start thinking, I usually become slower. Usually tires also fall off, temperatures get hotter. So usually like in the beginning of the day, I am pretty much dialed in. Like I don't have to really warm up. But the Elantra, it's a new car, new mods, bunch of things. Car is completely different suspension. I really needed to warm up. So I was not pushing at all. I was way out of pace as far as my grid location. And I was further back in the pack than, a Sport 3, like almost stock Veloster N. And I was tuned. So it's like, I was definitely like taking it easy and slowly building up pace. And earlier in this session, in the warm-up session, the car would snap oversteer on me where I was able to catch it. So that's why I was like, maybe I'll just do the first time session. Even if I'm super slow, I will try to kind of drive around the problem and then come back and trim the bump stops possibly and kind of find the root cause. That was my strategy, because that event was kind of hectic because I was doing so many things. I was, swapping from street wheels to track wheels, street pads to track pads, raising the ride height in the front, and then I forgot to register. I was rushing to the orientation sessions and all the different things. So it was chaotic. It was really, really chaotic. Preparing for the event was chaotic. I just didn't have a lot of time in my hands. I put on too much into my plate, and everything is pretty much on me, right? It's only me doing it. So like me shooting the videos, me editing stuff, me working on the car, me doing everything, right? I don't get like additional support from anyone as far as like preparing the car. So I kind of bit a little too much, way more than I could. And that put too much pressure. So that's why I trimmed the bump stops in the front when I was doing the bump travel. I'm sure you've seen the video. If you haven't, definitely check it out, where I'm doing the Fortunato coilover install. I set it up, but then later when I put the car down, it was too high in the front. So I ended up trimming the bump stop in the front, but rear just kind of like ran out of time. I was just super burnt out, super tired. So that's why this happened. And it's unfortunate. I highly recommend, if you're running professional launch and bump stops, trim them. You should not be into those bump stops at static ride height. Like, you should not be. No matter what they say. It's just like, either don't run them or just trim them. It's just like they take up so much space. You either have to run your suspension at like OEM ride height, then you can make them work. Or if you have like a rally setup. But if you have a track setup where you lower the car, you have stiff spring rates and everything, don't run them. It's just like not worth it. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. In my Veloster N, I had them in the front. In the rear, they were just the stock Fortunato bump stops. The Fortunatos are like 25 millimeter height, and Professional Awesomes are like 65. So at least I'm fine. As you can see, I'm sitting and standing. I'm all good. I'm able to drive. The doctors cleared me to drive. I'm working. Things are on the mend. So I'm happy with that. And yeah, and I just want to thank everyone who has kind of reached out, who has supported me. Thank the whole WDCR, SCCA group, like everyone who like messaged me. Or really thank Dan Lee for helping out with, coordinating, bringing my belongings home and everything. He came to the hospital twice. Thank you to Shivam. He also visited me. Thank you to Lynn. Yeah, it's just been awesome to see the support. This is why I run with the Washington, D.C. region, SCCA. Awesome group of people. And the events are always fun, super laid back. You get a lot of seat time. I've lost a car. I've, lost some physical ability. I also lost kind of the trust of my family on the safety on track. I usually say it is safer to be on track than on the street. I've hit a wall with my Veloster once. It caught on fire once. Totaled my Elantra N 2 months ago. So yeah, it's been tough on my family, and I definitely want to respect them. So I'm not going to be tracking for a while now. So if you're looking forward to more track content, I'm sorry to disappoint you. There won't be any for a while. So I'm still going to be making some content. I have ideas to do. I have a bunch of things that I didn't have time to do before. So I can do those now. Who knows what I can do in the future, but there's a lot more healing to do, both physically for me and both for my family and all my friends. It definitely leaves my YouTube channel and my Instagram and Facebook page in a weird place where I have Umar out racing. I'm not going to be doing any racing. So we'll see. If you have any suggestions on what kind of content I should do, definitely let me know. If you've stuck around this long, I do have good news. I recently picked up a 2024 Elantra N. I decided to get another Elantra N because they are great cars for the money. There are no other fun cars with 4 doors in the market that are, under 40,000. Everything else is like 50, 60, 70, 80,000. I looked at Audi RS3s, BMW M3s. They're just too expensive. Civic Type R. I really wanted to stick to a DCT automatic. That way my wife can drive it. She can go pick up my son from daycare. Parents can easily drive it. So yeah, it's going to be a daycare mobile, go on trips, weekend trips, or whatever. So if you have any questions about the 2024 Elantra, and definitely let me know. I'll be probably doing some install videos on the car, changing some stuff. I want to put a mesh behind the grille. And yeah, that's it. That's all I have for this video. Try to record this video too many times, so hopefully this is the last one. So see you in the next video.